From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey everyone, it's Caroline Gant.
Hey everyone, it's Austin Lowen.
And it's Tyler Blankenship.
All back again, the week before Christmas episode. Is everybody caught up?
On what?
On gifts.
Oh, I was like, caught up on what?
There's so much to get caught up on, like this podcast.
I am almost done shopping, yes.
Really?
Yep.
That's good. I'm nowhere near almost done.
Have you started?
No. So, yeah, haven't even started. Tyler,
You've got like exactly a week.
pretty much, yeah. It's okay.
Fine.
It's going to get
Yeah,
done.
you'll be great.
Uh-huh.
This
Tyler,
year, yeah, I'm wrapping it up. I've still got a couple things to do, but I tell you what, I went shopping for some snackies for my friends because I feel like sometimes we just need some like cute little nourishment that you can gobble gobble and then it goes away and you don't have to,
Have something laying around your house
Yeah.
that you look at for a long time.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yep. So treats for everyone this Christmas.
I love that idea.
Nothing wrong with that. I like getting treats too.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm. You know what else makes really good gifts though? Plants.
Oh, yeah.
People love plants as gifts, I think, or I find.
Unless you work at a nursery and you give people plants all the time and then they're like, please stop giving me plants.
Kind of, yeah.
Both
but
my mother and mother-in-law have said, I love you and I love the plants I have now. I'm just talking from experience, but I think people listening to this podcast, yes.
Well, I know what you're talking about. Like, yeah, I cannot get my wife plants anymore. That's a rule. That was like a decade ago was I can't give her plants. I can't act like that's a genuine gift, because I just work here and I'm already here. So I can't bring home a plant. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. That makes total sense. But for the most part, people love plants as gifts. I attended a Christmas party this past weekend and we did a dirty Santa. And I brought a peach tree to the party.
Oh, who got that?
A peach party tree. One of my friends got it. And he
Peach
was
party
very
tree.
excited. It got stolen like twice. Like people wanted it, It was, all
Stole
the
my
girls.
peach tree.
Yeah, all the girls were like, "That's a great gift idea." I'm like, I thought so too.
It
you know?
is. I would have tried to steal that. If I had been at that party, I would have been like, that tree is mine.
Yeah. I
Did
got
you
it.
secretly want it to end back up with you?
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
said that weird, but
Well, no, I got it. But yeah, I wouldn't have minded to
Yeah.
take that back home. So yeah, I do want to, kind of up my fruit game. So
you should. You don't have a lot.
No, I really don't. I have way more ornamental stuff than I do fruiting stuff. I grow a big garden every year, which is great, but I need to get the fruiting things in, okay? I need to be more like Tyler. Tyler, I want to be more like you.
Aw.
Yeah. You done any fruit pruning yet, Tyler?
My lime tree is almost in full bloom.
Nice.
There some branches have multiple blooms on them. So I'm wondering how this is going to go. I had a watering mishap. And maybe people can relate to this, but when it gets dark outside at 4:30 and you can't see outside, and especially in your greenhouse if it doesn't have lights in it, so then you just kind of think, oh, my plants don't exist, they'll be fine. So that's
Not the case.
No, not the case. And I did dump some water in there, like a week ago, and then I was like, I probably need to go water them. And then, hey, this big rainstorm came up, so now the temperature was good enough to do this, but I just hauled everything out of the greenhouse and just let the rain take care of it.
Nice.
I bet they loved it. That's smart.
Plants
Yes.
love rainwater better than our city water anyway.
Oh,
I swear,
absolutely.
there's something to be said about that. Well, so what we're saying is great work, Tyler.
Yes.
Good thinking.
Yeah,
So proud of you.
But that was a really good soaking rain, so that was perfect for the plants.
it was, and the temperature wasn't too bad to shock them. So
Yeah.
I'm going to, tonight, I guess, put them back in the greenhouse, maybe give them a little extra additional water if some of them didn't get quite enough from that rain. We'll see. But yeah, I'm thinking it's just the irony is I want to prune stuff back more to fit more in my greenhouse, but then stuff is blooming. So
You don't want to cut those blooms because they smell so good.
yeah, the timing isn't that good right now. And as far as outside goes, I'd love to prune my raspberry some more. It got pruned back, but I think it needs a little bit more because it started growing again, when it was like mild.
Mm-hmm.
And What else is out there? Blueberries. Oh my goodness. So much dead wood needs to get out of there.
That's such a fun chore because you know exactly which ones to take. You're like, I can tell you're off color, you're dead or dying or diseased.
Yeah.
The 3 Ds, you see those, you got to get them out.
3 Ds.
I just made that up.
Preach.
No one ever says that.
No,
Dead,
I love this.
disease, dying. Is that what you said?
I said like pretty much 3 same words.
No, you didn't. Something's already gone.
That sounds
Something
like-
is diseased, it might spread, and something's on its way out. So those are 3 different things.
Okay. Dead, dying, diseased.
I think that's
find those
great.
first and just take them. And then it just immediately opens up your shrub and shows you like, okay, now what do I really want to selectively prune? Not things that I just absolutely have to prune, but things that I want to prune just so I can make this thing look cool or look better or whatever you're trying to achieve, you know?
I need to cut back my catmint. I'm going to do that coming up.
Is it mush yet or is it still pretty much
No,
up?
it's still green. It still has blooms on it.
So
it went
weird.
down to like 13 at my house.
I was going to say, can we talk about that for a minute? Is there some kind of like fluid chemical or something that resists frost damage or freeze damage from an event like that? Or was it just not cold enough to really affect anything?
I guess
Oh,
just it didn't stay cold for long.
I think that's
like
the key.
it dropped down to 13 in the morning, but then immediately warmed up. So it just wasn't cold long enough for it to take a lot of damage. But my catmint took like no damage.
Well, that's what we talked about last week too. My butterfly bush and yours as well. Like I looked at it literally yesterday because it was my day off, and no leaf even looks bad.
Yeah.
And that's a freshly planted plant, like not too long ago. So I think you're totally right. That's the only thing I can come up with because 13 is certainly enough to damage plants, like way enough to damage plants, but it didn't this year because of that warm up the next day. I mean, I think we see death we see the cells rupture literally inside the plant whenever the water inside the cell freezes. I guess it didn't have enough time to do that.
Which is weird because it seemed like it was.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. It's so weird.
It's
How did
hurting
this
my
happen?
brain. I'm like, I've never seen this before.
I know.
Or is it that we had some chillier nights beforehand because it wasn't so sudden and it was used to some chill?
It's a
Maybe.
mystery.
Potentially, it still seems that they would have froze. I don't know how to explain it, but this year's been an odd one for that.
Other plants got the signal.
yeah.
I'm finally seeing my foxglove that was in full bloom. Now it looks pitiful.
Yeah.
It's the main stalk is still up, but everything is deflated.
Yeah. And we're, like you just mentioned, we're starting to see that pretty much across the board of a ton of things. We always talk about our petunias, they're still, mine are still up, but they're starting to look bad.
Mine in pots, the black ones that were in pots are mush now.
Yeah.
But my misties that are in ground are still up. They don't look great.
Yeah, that's the same way as mine. And plenty of green foliage, but the foliage is like off color, you can just tell. And then there's no more blooms left. So it's like, well,
I'm going to pull mine up maybe next week.
it's about that time because what's happening is the leaves are falling off the trees, and then on the ground petunias are great at catching those leaves, and they're all up under them, on top of them, annoying me.
Making you mad.
Yep.
When are you going to pull yours up?
I don't know. I've been lazy so far. I really need to get out there. Christmas season and all that. It's a lot of hustle bustle. I got these parties to go to all the time.
Oh, so popular. Go to so many parties.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the Christmas season. I got kids and stuff, man. The parties are always happening. Okay, so I ain't had
That's
time.
true. Yeah.
Nor the want to, and it's been rainy and gross.
Yeah.
So
You're right about that.
it'll happen. It happens in one big swoop, Caroline. You know how I am.
Oh, I know.
I go out there. I take one before picture of what it looks like, and then
you're just like, you go to town.
Yes.
Go to town and you get it all
Fast
clean.
forward 2 hours, and it is as clean as you could imagine. All the stuff's thrown in the woods. I'm done. Done for the
All the
season.
stuff thrown in the woods.
That's how it is.
And you're out.
Yeah. Oh, you did something. You said before we started here, you did something.
Oh, yeah, I planted some bulbs. We've been getting a lot of questions about can I still plant bulbs? And I did. I did it yesterday morning. I had bought some here at the nursery because we did put our bulbs on sale. So I bought some daffodils, and I have this, it's not like a raised bed, but it's just a planter on the side of my porch. And I want some color in there. I grow herbs, but I just stuck some daffodils all through it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you get
So
that?
I planted them, and
get
I'm
them?
happy about it.
Did you get them yellow? Yellow on
I got the
outside,
yellow
white
one.
on the
I got
inside?
one that I'd never seen before. It was the last one. It was like this weird spidery, ruffly looking one. Hadn't seen that. And then I got one that's a double flowering.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be stunning. I love how they smell.
Really?
Yes. Do you not like it?
No, not a lot of people do like that smell.
Tyler, do you like it?
I can't recall the smell. Maybe I haven't whiffed
Really?
enough of them. Yeah.
No, I don't like paper whites. I feel like those smell different than daffodils.
I mean, it's the same genus. I don't see
Yeah.
why.
But I feel like it's like a little bit of a different smell. Like paperwhites get into your nose. Maybe it's because I've only smelled ones that are indoors and I don't know, something is different about it.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
weird. But I love how they smell. To me, it smells like spring.
know.
Yes.
For me,
I mean, that they're one of the first to come up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, even before spring, really.
Yeah, and they're blooming.
But I'm with you. I think I've grown paperwhites just in the house, and like they just.
I do not like that smell.
It's not good.
No, I will never grow paperwhites in my house again because I did it once and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Some people like that one though.
It is really fun to do that though for the Christmas season.
Yeah, they are so pretty. When I did it, I had this square little glass container. I filled it with rocks and water, and then I just set the bulbs on top, and they grew so fast. They grew into it, and I like clumped them all together so they're really tight. And then I just had this massive paperwhite blooms. It was pretty, but it's just such a strong, overpowering smell.
Yeah, it is. But the beauty overtakes the smell. So
Not with that one for me.
it
no.
does for me. I love forcing bulbs in the house. It's so fun.
I should do that with an amaryllis. We have a lot of those here. Maybe I'll get me one.
They're cool too.
I just love bulbs, like watching them.
Everybody loves bulbs, and I do too. And I'm so on the fence. It's for me.
What are you on the fence about with bulbs?
How ugly they get after they bloom, and then it's still in my flower bed that's supposed to be nice and tidy and pretty.
I understand what you're saying because that's why I did not buy tulips when I got bulbs. Because with tulips, you get one little bloom that comes up. It's not a good cut flower.
But tulips are literally the most popular bulb on the planet.
I know.
Like everybody loves tulips.
And I have
I'm
a
no
lot
different.
planted in my beds. I have a lot of tulips. I've got these cute little parrot tulips that are all frilly and cute.
Yeah. I mean, if I had this like whimsical, perennial flowering, cottagey feel of a bed, then I would throw bulbs all over the place because then I don't really care. They'll be like amongst the other plants that are hiding them and stuff.
See,
but
that's
like,
what I do.
Well, yeah, but you've got more of that.
I
scenario.
definitely have that.
I don't.
Yeah.
So like right up when I first walk into my home, that's whenever you see everything. So it's like, am I going to see this trash tulip after it's bloomed just laying amongst?
You'd be so mad.
I'd be so mad. That's what I'm saying.
Why don't you just make a new whimsical bed?
I don't. Well, that's a whole nother day.
Listen, just
topic.
lay some plastic, all your cardboard from Christmas. How about that? All your kids' presents. Just lay the cardboard in one spot, let it stay there, kill all the grass, and then till it up. That's what I would do.
I'm not ready to make a new bed yet, but I still want to grow tulips. Okay.
Well,
but I'm not going to dig up my tulips every year.
Put them in a pot.
I've got them in pots. You know this. My goodness. See, I grow bulbs when I can, but I cannot force myself to put them in that front bed. I can't see it. You know, our botanical garden here in Nashville, Cheekwood. Shout out Cheekwood. Hope you're good. They plant thousands of tulips every fall and then dig up thousands of tulips every spring after they're done blooming. And there's a reason for that. Because Cheekwood likes beauty. What?
Wow, it was silent for like half a second.
I don't know why.
I mean, I'm just listening to Austin pontificate.
Whew. All right, enough about bulbs, I guess.
Well, I have them in ground in my beds. But like you said, I have stuff that comes up around it later on.
And that's the key. I love that look.
It's great.
Okay, so switching gearsies a little bit.
Do it, T.Y.
Evergreens.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you saw something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you sent us a picture of something.
Yes, there's a brewery named Yazoo Brewing. It's a good company, local, obviously. So they're in my neighborhood. I went there to pick up a burger because there's like this little to-go joint that's kind of tucked in there, and it's a great little hang. And they have a bunch of native landscaping that looks really lovely. They've got some hydrangeas. They've got just the whole thing's like knocking my socks off. But in the background, kind of making this wall so you can't see their loading dock and distribution area, they have this beautiful array of junipers. And I texted y'all and I thought, are they Canarii? And then Austin said, I think maybe they're Brody, but it's like the way the branches like swag and like spill out. I am in love, and they're loaded with berries right now.
It was stunning.
Oh, they certainly had swag.
They look like Bavarian almost.
Bavarian?
I don't know.
Bavarian?
You know like how like fir forests, you know, how the trees are like swoopy and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now.
Like black forest.
Do we have any right now? We only get them in giant sizes.
Not necessarily. It's common to have them in a 15-gallon. So, I mean, 6-7 footers or whatever. And it looked like Brody to me, for like I said, from the picture, which is just a certain cultivar of Eastern Red Cedar. But they're swoopy. They're swaggy, like you said.
That picture was so pretty.
I just had no idea because we've had smaller Brodies, and you can't get an idea of what a mature one looks like. I'm sorry, but man, that looks great.
Stunning. We will put a picture on our social media. But if you work at Yazoo and you're listening right now, and you know for sure what was planted right there, you let us know.
They don't.
They might. They might.
You never know.
There might be somebody working there who's really into plants and knows exactly what's planted and where.
Well, maybe.
And right next door, literally in the same cul-de-sac, there is a beautiful example of planted offset green giant privacy hedge. I think they're every bit of 25 or 30 feet by now.
Nice.
And they're nice and full. You can see how they were planted to obscure. And it's really nice to like see that as a big example. It's something that I'm definitely going to point out and use as a reference when people are trying to get a better imagination of what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I very commonly talk to people about screening options and blocking out your neighbors or whatever. And I really just try to avoid a straight line scenario. If we can help it, that's what you're talking about, the staggering of them, or mixing in deciduous flowering plants with your green giants. Like, just break it up a little. Not a straight line of green giants and calling it good.
I see the straight line all the time.
Happens all the time. It's not my favorite design choice. I'm not into that near as much. So the staggered look I like.
Those junipers,
it just does better.
Those junipers were planted on a curve, so they kind of like curved inward a little bit, brought you into the sidewalk to go into the place, but also served as like a no, you're not going any further than here, but you can see us in the background, and then look at these cool little dried up hydrangeas and grasses in the front.
Yeah. Grasses are looking good right now. Yeah, that was a great picture. Mm-hmm. Good work on that.
It was. Yeah, my grasses look great. My little blue stem, all the blooms are up, and the little birdies are coming to them right now. Mm-hmm. It's cute.
I've noticed switchgrass in commercial landscape plantings has been seed head topped, but they left a good 1.5 to 2 feet of stems.
Yeah.
So it's still something, but it's not kind of messy on the top.
Yeah.
I like the messy on the top look.
You know what little birdies have been coming into my switchgrass? My chickens.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, those birdies are not what we want for our switchgrass, because I don't know what happened. I think those chickens don't care where they step.
No, those chickens will go anywhere. They're not going to watch your flowers and be like, ooh, don't step on that.
Thanks for reminding me. I watch the chickens walk through the bed constantly, and I'm just like, stop, man. But yeah, something happened. All my switchgrass is picture perfect. Of course, the one in the middle has half of it laying on the earth. Chicken just trampled. Probably multiple chickens trampled that area.
Are you so mad at it?
Can you tell? Can you not tell?
You like your grass up through the winter. You talk about how it blows and dances.
Well, that's like your little wall too.
It's part of it, yes.
At the curve of your driveway.
I know.
You're going to have to go up to Joann's and get you some fake grass stems and stick them in the ground.
Negative.
To fill that in.
No. All I got, it still has most of the grass up, Carolina. Just laid down like a third of it. All you got to do is cut off that third, throw it in the woods.
You're still going to be able to see it.
No, you're
still
not.
going to be thinner.
No,
you're going to know.
That's the thickest grass I've got.
You need to go to the craft store and get some.
I've never been to a craft store.
Well, you haven't truly lived.
Yeah, I have. I don't need crafts.
I love craft stores.
I know you
but this
do.
is not a crafting podcast.
Stick you some eucalyptus branches in there, Austin.
Oh, gross. Tyler, can't even believe you'd say that.
He's offended. Well, I'm sorry that happened, but at least it was the one in the middle.
Is that that's a good thing? Usually one in the middle are like, no, that's what we want to avoid.
Well, what, you have 5?
Yeah, there's 5.
Is it 5?
Uh-huh.
I mean, 2 or 4 would have been the worst. One on the end would have been okay.
I don't know. Usually whenever someone plants something and they're like, yeah, the one in the middle died. We're always like, not
But then you could just put something else there, like a statue.
There's no. You're getting back to crafting.
Oh my goodness.
Statues aren't crafting. We sell them here.
Caroline
I put them
loves
in my landscape.
projects.
I do. Love a good project.
Well, you know what else we love? The broadcast.
Yeah,
Yes, we do. We love answering all your questions and letting you listen to it on the podcast. So let's go ahead and get into it. We were all here this past Saturday. So you will hear us and Josh Carey and David Bates.
And lively banter.
Happy holidays. And we love Colin.
And we love Colin.
We
and
do.
we love Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And we also love questions.
Yeah, so that means Tyler loves questions. If we love Tyler and Tyler loves Colin and we love questions, does Colin love questions or does anyway?
He does.
He does.
Mark it with an X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're good.
Are we good?
Let's do it.
We're good.
We're good. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to
good.
start with a rose question, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
My roses have black spot. What can I do now for them in the winter?
Well, you don't really do anything now for them in the winter besides strip off the leaves, get them back. You can prune a little if you want to. You want to really clean those leaves beneath the shrub if you can. So, like, leaf blow them out of there, rake them up, whatever you got to do for
Do that
next
when
year.
it's dry, by the way.
Yeah, do it when
it's
it's
a lot
dry.
easier.
Definitely. But at this point, we're going through dormancy. So, I mean, those black spots are going to, the leaves are going to fall off. You're going to get new clean ones next spring. Now, if you want to prevent black spot, you have to spray early and often with roses. I'm sorry, we're in Middle Tennessee. You're going to have to do that.
Yep.
So fungicides are needed. Like I said, well, I hear it
You-
every
now
time I say it now.
you're gonna know when you
Thanks,
do it.
Joyce.
Joyce
Hope
is
you're
like-
watching.
She's
Shout out to
already
Joyce.
drunk. She's already counted on. Okay.
Golly. But anyway, so fungicides early and often. The Rose Society recommended every 2 weeks a fungicide regimen. That's crazy.
Wow.
Like that, but that's how you keep roses clean. And even still, the Rose Society still sees some black spot during the growing season, even with the application of fungicides.
Now, do you, and this, of course, doesn't pertain to black spot, but do you see any benefit to doing a dormant oil application sometime during the winter months?
Yes, I don't see why not. I mean, coating those stems with an oil is going to...
So maybe wait until they completely defoliate. Now, of course, depending on the weather and the winter that we have, knockout roses might not fully defoliate
You're
the
right.
entire winter. They're just waiting for
That 65-degree day. And we're going to push
one,
them out
and
here.
boom, they're in bloom all of a sudden.
Right.
They're growing machines.
Now, did the Rosarians rotate those fungicides? Do they change up the chemicals in them?
Typically,
Yeah. But do the Rotarians rosate? Is what I guess is what I'm. That's the trick question.
It's a one world government anyway, aren't they? I mean, they're kind of like that.
Yeah. But yeah, Josh, for best success, like it is to rotate your fungicides,
Okay.
just like insecticides. Just rotating that out is always good practice.
And the reason for that is that these pathogens develop resistance when you used only a single type of fungicide. So if you'll use one, and then the next time you spray, use a different one, maybe use a copper-based type on one time, and then use another one. Is orthene still? No, that's insecticide.
That's insecticide.
That's
What is the Funginex? Or
Funganil.
Funganil.
Yeah, chlorothalonil is the active in that one.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah. So there's plenty to choose from, but you do need to have a couple in the arsenal to be able to have the most effectiveness. It's either that or move to the Pacific Northwest,
Exactly.
where they don't really have to spray because they don't
They have
have
humidity.
humidity. They don't have it like we've got it anyway. Not in the swelter condition.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've got a lot of it. We do, and a lot of questions. Our next one comes from Miriam, who we haven't seen in a minute.
Miriam.
Miriam, where have you been?
I got to see Miriam last week. We had the art crawl last week and got to spend some time with her. Really enjoyed that very much. She
Was crawling around.
and her grandson, one of her grandchildren, was with her. No, it was a lot of fun.
I
So,
bet.
anyway,
Okay.
she and Bob came out. So hello, Bob. Hello,
Bob.
Miriam.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Miriam.
Hi, all.
Good
All
morning.
right, so Miriam asks, which potted mums can go in the ground and when?
Any of them can go in the ground, and you can see which ones come back and which ones don't. It's kind of like a, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't scenario. A lot of times mums will perennialize.
Now, is that always a cultivar situation, or is it a somewhat luck-based thing where because they're hollow stemmed. If you have cut them back, like when they're in the house and you have a wet winter, they can rot out.
Yeah.
But I have not seen many of them that are, quote, greenhouse varieties that pretty much don't seem very different than the hardy varieties. They all seem like they're very resilient plants.
Yes, they can be for sure. And there's also true like perennial mums, like your Sheffield Pink for sure is like an
The best.
excellent perennial mum. Yes. And there's other ones too that have like these. You know what's in right now?
What?
You know what's in?
What is in right now? You tell us.
I know. Because
You know all the fashion
Bring it.
trends.
trends. The soft colored mums. Okay, like there's this guest that came out to us. She grows cut flowers, and she says right now all the rage is perennial heirloom mums is what she called them, and they're like soft colors, but like
Really?
you know what I'm saying? Like
I know what you're saying.
like soft yellow, soft pinks.
I mean, that's my Sheffield pink. It's very
pastel-ish
soft.
colors. Yeah, that's what's in right now. Just,
So my garden
so
is
y'all know.
in right now. That's what you're saying.
So hurry up and get them before they go out of style.
Yeah,
Right.
This is the
but they're
question.
great. Those heirloom mums have longer stems, so they bloom up atop of the foliage a little bit more. So they're really, really nice for cut flowers, and like fall wedding arrangements is like what they're being used for.
Yeah.
So
They
those
look
are great.
They look more like a perennial and less like a chrysanthemum,
Yes.
actually, because because these hardy types of mums that are grown, annually. Your perennial plants grown annually because most people just wind up pitching them and killing them when they quit bloom. But if you leave them in the ground, they'll just take over.
Yeah.
They're such aggressive growers, so you wind up taking them out, whether they die or whether they do well, because neither is acceptable.
Yeah. Have some space for your perennial mums because they really do. Just
Yeah.
like your
Mine is
Sheffield
huge.
pink.
It's
for
like
sure.
a shrub.
Definitely.
And it's pretty tall. I measured it in bird baths on the podcast.
Yeah,
So.
you did. That was.
And you loved that measurement. But let's move on to another question. This is a question we're getting a lot. If I have plants in nursery pots still, are they goners? Should I put them in the basement or the ground? I have plants in nursery pots all over my driveway. Actually, I had bought a bunch of plants weeks ago and I haven't had time to plant all of them. I planted some and I got a climbing aster that we have back in our perennials that Bridget and I had talked about. And mine is still green and it's still flowering. It didn't get any damage in that frost, which is weird. Bridget and I also talked about that. She was like, I can't believe it, but they're doing just fine.
Well, asters are really, really hardy. But, I mean, it totally depends on the plant you're talking about. And no, most of them, probably 99% of them are not goners,
No,
But
I get them in the
is it better
ground.
to get them in the ground? Yes. I mean, they're warmer in the ground than they are above the ground in a pot. So, no, not goners.
Don't you say they
Now-
usually lose a couple of hardiness zones if they're above ground?
You do, and for a great many plants, the soil temperature, not air temperature, but the soil temperature range, once the soil temperature goes below 17 degrees, that's when you start seeing dieback on those tender roots, and damage can occur. So it doesn't mean they're going to die necessarily, but in order to get 17 degrees soil temperature, it takes, probably temperatures below 10 degrees, at least on a single night. And this is why watering before you have a big freeze is so important. The airspace is being filled in the soil really slows down how fast the temperature can change. So if people will do that right before severe, or if they're still in the pot, just put them in the garage. You can do that. But if you can't, if they're too big, say for instance, it's a big planter you've got and you're concerned about it, water it. And I know it makes no sense on one part because you're thinking, well, won't it freeze? Well, yes, but 32 degrees is the freezing point of water. We're talking about trying to keep it above the 17-degree soil temperature. So all the temperature range that exists in between there, of which water helps to mitigate how quickly that heat gets transferred out of the soil. Watering does that. And then if you are in a situation where it warms back up after that, then soak it thoroughly again. That helps to keep it hydrated and help it survive the best.
Perfect. It's actually going to be kind of warm on Monday, though it will be raining, but I'm going to hopefully get more of my 25 or so plants in the ground.
Well, and rain does count as water.
It does.
If it's
They will
in-
be happy. I don't know if I want to be out there in the rain, but
Well, you don't have to be.
Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Earth Mix Garden Products, creating regionally sourced high-quality soil blends and amendments for the sustainable-minded gardener. Fall and winter are great times to plant in the Southeast, and Earth Mix can help you with Landscape Soil Conditioner. Mix Landscape with your native soil to feed all winter long. Added mycorrhizal fungi help your plants get established faster and increase hardiness through the year ahead. Visit earthmix.net for more information and retailers near you. Remember, success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. I also want to check out something as well right now.
What?
Something that you like to talk about.
Oh,
There's
something.
There's a button.
We've still got the
Like you
segment.
said.
What?
That's all I've got. He's got a new
What?
segment.
Okay.
He didn't tell me about it until 2 minutes before we went live.
2 minutes before we went live. And
Let him know,
I'm taking
Austin.
the ideas from two of our listeners, Colin and Joyce. Both of you, okay? I like both of your ideas. So you know what? Here we go. Like I said,
What is it?
the goat.
The goat.
All right? Both of y'all's ideas together, okay? Like I said, the goat.
Like
and
I
I'm going to
said.
talk about the goat of Christmas trees.
Oh,
There it is. It's time. We've got
The
them.
holiday season
we've got
is here.
Of Christmas present.
Yes, the ghost of Christmas presents and trees. Tyler? Yeah, we're doing it. Look, we've got alive Christmas trees here.
We do.
Or living as we
Living, they're alive. They've got their own root system, okay?
Yep.
You know, if you go to get a cut Christmas tree, wherever you go to get one, what are you going to get? You're going to get a Douglas fir. You might get a Fraser fir.
And they're good-looking trees.
Good-looking
Oh, yeah.
trees, but boy, do they not live here.
Nope.
Not well at all. Not in the mid-state anyway. You head out east, they can live out there. North Carolina, they do great. Not in Middle Tennessee, so we can't use those as alive Christmas trees, okay? But what do we sell that lives great here, that is a non-native plant, but has naturalized great here?
What's that?
Norway spruce.
Yep.
Yeah.
Norway spruce is the goat when it comes to Christmas trees, if you ask me.
I think you're right.
It's
I
got its
agree
own
with
root
you.
system. Picea abies is the botanical name.
Yep.
And it's a spruce that is native to more northerly regions than where we're at. But it has crept south, and it is naturalized here fine. Okay? So I pass on the way home 40, 50-foot Norway spruce, you know? And what's great about them and why they're such a good Christmas tree is that very sturdy stems. They hold those Christmas lights great. They hold the ornaments great.
Ornaments.
Yes, they smell fantastic.
Yes.
You know, whenever you get them in the house, do a little trick, okay? They smell good when you just smell them, but if you cut them a little bit, just take a few stems. Josh, just take a few stems, man. Just cut off the ends. Just make them stubbier so they're not so long. If you just cut those a little bit, fills up your house with
Cut 'em.
smells. Yeah. Use your hands.
Is that how you cut them?
Yeah, my hands cut trees easy. And it
Then I
smells
bet
up
you
your
use
house.
those cuttings to decorate your mantle.
You
'cause
gotta
I know
put it on the mantle.
You are all about that.
Yes, the white mantle. I've got a beautiful snowy picture, and we put lights on it. And yeah, we cut the tree a little bit.
It's
and use 'em.
perfect.
Yes, it's decorations. Y'all get it. It's festive time,
It is festive time.
right?
I haven't decorated yet, but maybe I will.
Slacker.
Well, you know what? If you haven't gotten your Christmas tree yet, and
Ours
you
has
want,
been up for 6 weeks.
I know ours has been up for a while too. It's great.
Well, I can't bring mine in for a little while.
Oh.
I got that Angel Falls white pine.
No, it's time.
Is it time?
Yes, Christmas is like less than 2 weeks away, right? Or right at it.
It's also sitting on my driveway with the rest
Get
of it.
that inside the house, decorate it, Caroline.
Yeah, we do the Pinus plasticus.
That's a good one too.
Those are good for extending the season.
Yes.
When you go.
So-
But they don't smell good, Josh.
No,
No.
but
could
there's
put
4
little
of them in
fresheners in
one
'em.
household that we attend.
You have 4 Christmas trees?
My daughter has 4 Christmas trees.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Well, she's festive.
That
we
is
have 2.
impressive.
There's 2. They can see each other.
We have the potential to have 4, but
Oh.
we don't have any currently. But I suspect that'll change in the coming
Yeah,
weeks.
David, get you a Norway spruce today.
Well, I
know
probably
what?
won't.
Oh, David.
Because I've got some growing out in the yard, and they're a great tree. And
Yes.
when what you're saying is the absolute truth, they grow and do wonderfully.
Yes.
What I really like about Norway spruces, is the years down the line when when they're no longer being sheared and the growth grows off the lateral stems down, and it's a really great
Gorgeous
look.
tree.
It's a beautiful tree, a great conifer to add to the landscapes, and they have they're not native, as you said, but they are naturalized. They're so prevalent that you would think that they are native because there's a lot of them being used.
Yes.
Great point. Great point. You're right, Deb. As they age, they get pendulous and they hang down from those arms. So you know what? Like I said, the goat.
The goat.
There it is.
We got a question from one of our landscape specialists here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Who?
Ben Trest asks,
Benny.
what about those Christmas trees growing along the interstate? Let's talk about the Christmas trees growing along the
Ben's
interstate.
talking about juniper, I bet. 100%, I bet he's talking about juniper.
Ben loves juniper. I love juniper, too. It's a great one here.
So what he's talking about is commonly called our cedar trees around here. Not technically cedars at all. They're junipers. We all know that by now.
Virginiana.
Yes, but they are growing along the interstates. Benny knows it. And there's so many varieties, not varieties, there's so many variations of a juniper. Like, you can have tall, skinny, you can have fat, you can have short and stubby. Like,
Well, the Taylor juniper is a great example of a fastigate or a columnar growing one. That was isolated in Nebraska.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful, probably the best plant to use as an Italian cypress kind of look.
Most definitely.
That will live here year in and year out. But just like you're saying, if you look in a field where the quote cedar trees are growing, you'll notice that there's a wide variety of different growth habits. Some are much fatter, some are decidedly more columnar. So there's a whole range of growth habits that exist.
The ones that get in the fence line, those are the ones that you harvest.
Oh, man.
That's the one you
However,
harvest.
I don't recommend pulling over on the side of the interstate and harvesting one.
No.
I don't
Ben did
know
say he has a chainsaw and a headlamp. So I think what Ben is saying, he can do that in the middle of the night.
I guess that he's trying to grinch it up. And,
under the cover of
it's
darkness.
It's a good thing none of the authorities know where he works.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hopefully no
Benny.
one's listening to this.
You know what's funny is I did that last year. I went to my buddy's
the
property.
interstate?
No, I went to my buddy's land. I called him up and I was like, "Is it cool if I go take a cedar tree?" And he
Sure
was
it
like,
is.
"Sure." So I went with my kids.
You can have all you.
Yeah,
can
pretty
stand,
much.
yes.
It was literally on his fence line, like you're talking about. And there was a tree about this big, and I cut it right at the dirt with the kids with a sawzall. Brought it back to the house, cut it up a little bit, just like
we're
that.
back to it.
And I put it in a 5-gallon bucket of sand.
There you go.
What do you think about
Wow.
that?
Yeah.
And then we decorated it with lights and all the things, and the kids loved it. It was great.
Well,
They smell incredibly.
Oh,
well,
that was
too.
definitely a good one,
That's
yeah.
a gorgeous smell.
A little bit pokey when they're young, so get
They
ready
are.
for that.
are.
But
little
I love
pokey.
them.
Kind of
Hey,
like me in
Joyce
the
is
early morning.
I
a
understand.
little bit
Pokey.
pokey. But early morning for you is like 1 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah.
Joyce is counting, so we are up to 5, like I said.
She's missed too.
And then I think Colin started drinking early because he said take a drink after the first one. So
All right.
you have started something. It's great.
They started it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Like I said.
Like I said,
drink up, people.
Okay.
drink up, everybody. All right, let's get to another question. Can I remove a witch hazel and replace it with a Japanese maple if I stump grind and let the soil rest?
No. I mean, not in the same spot. You don't want to do that. And if you're going to remove it, remove it. Now, if I might even consider, this is a great time of year to consider transplanting. Maybe I don't know how large this plant is, so unfortunately
They can get huge.
we didn't get that bit of information, but it might be worth considering digging it out and relocating it in your yard, or maybe there's someone who would like to have it. And
Yes.
then you have excavated your hole for your Japanese maple in advance.
Yes.
But if you grind that stump out, I had a big sugar maple in my yard. It's been 5 or 6 years ago. It's a 120-year-old sugar maple. It had gotten into decline. It was really beautiful tree. It was planted really close to the house. Maybe that's just where it came up because I live in an old home, so didn't appear to be that big of a deal back in the day in 1910. But it got into a bad shape. We were concerned it was going to fall on the house at some point, so we had to have it taken out. And we ground the stump out as much as we could, and then we got a backhoe in there to actually dig out the remainder of the stump. And then I brought in actual soil back in, and then we still moved the other tree off away from it. So we had to do all of those things in order to ensure we were going to have good success. Now, if you do that, you can. Going back in the exact same spot without removing that stump, grinding it out, is not satisfactory because that stump is going to decompose. Whatever you plant there is going to be subjected to that change in pH that's going to occur because you've got this still living material that is decomposing. The tree is
robbing
going
the nitrogen from the soil.
yes, the tree is going to settle over time because that is going to create a void in the ground. So a lot better if you can dig it out.
Don't do that.
Even if you're not going to transplant it, maybe you need to consider mechanically removing it, something that gets that root system out more completely. A big truck with a chain on it might be
They've
sufficient.
got a taproot on them too, don't they? Yeah.
What's that? What? Witch hazel?
Witch hazel.
No, they're
Flat?
I
Okay.
don't think so.
But
Okay.
a big, a logging chain and a truck with wet soil conditions, pretty easy to pull it out, particularly if you've got the truck on pavement nearby. So if you can do that,
Because
it'll
it'll
come
leave marks in the yard if you don't.
on. Well, because if it's wet in one spot, chances are it's wet in
the
another.
other spot.
Yeah.
Oh.
And if you happen on a record, that works also. Just run the cable out
Dag
there.
nabbit, yeah, just pull it
If
from
you
the
if you
street.
just happen to.
Okay.
So there you go.
So there it is.
There you go.
I
David
love
said
witch
no.
hazel. I would leave mine
I would too.
and just plant a Japanese maple somewhere else.
That's what I was about to say. Just like find a different spot for a Japanese maple. Like everybody needs one of those.
Yeah.
Or about 5 of them.
Witch hazel's a really wonderful.
It's a beautiful plant. Beautiful plant.
And it blooms before anything else. I mean, they're tiny blooms, but you get up close and they're so cool. I love them. All right, any native vines that would do well growing through a fence?
Oh, Caroline, go ahead.
Crossvine.
There it is. That's your cue.
That's my only
Did
suggestion.
y'all just lead her into that question? Is that
I put it up myself.
Oh, okay, that's
no,
what it
I
was.
did not.
Yeah,
We
you
got
did.
that question, but that's a great one. I talk about it all the time, but it's evergreen. It's going to give you a heavy bloom set in the mid spring. It's great. It loves. Pollinators love it, and mine kind of blooms throughout the summer. It bloomed up until the first frost.
You know what
just
I really
sporadically.
like for a crossvine is being planted on both sides of a white painted arbor that it can grow up, and then those dark leaves show up all winter long, and then they get that reddish cast to them. It's really a great vine. And I know Austin in particular loves giving Caroline grief about her affection for that vine, but it is a really good plant. It doesn't overgrow, and that can be both against it and for it. It's kind of a slow grower, but if you can get it covered, it is a beautiful vine, and it is native.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I
I guess
love
one more while we're here is honeysuckle. There's native honeysuckle that would do that just fine too.
Yeah,
You bet
you're
it'll
right.
destroy your fence.
I mean, eventually it probably
Yes,
will. Yeah.
yes.
Every 2 or 3 seasons, just cut it to the dirt and let it
But then you got to rip
regrow.
it off that fence. I mean, come on, crossvine, just can't go wrong with it.
Okay. Back to crossvine. Forget honeysuckle. It's
no,
just
it's
awful.
great. It's beautiful if you get it right.
It's not awful. You're right, Josh. It's beautiful.
But
And
it
you
will
too,
take
Austin.
it'll take that chain link down.
It'll take a chain link. Oh yeah.
I've never
it'll
grown
twist it
that
up.
one, so I don't know much about that.
It's
I know
it's
this.
something.
Is it?
It's aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mama's house had it,
Mama.
and I had to. I
You
was
had-
in charge of it.
Mm-hmm. It's not fun on a chain link.
No.
I've had to take it off a chain link. It's not fun.
No,
Yeah.
No,
But it lives.
And it is cool. The blooms are so cool. There's so much color in them.
Mm-hmm.
They look fake. I will give them that. Their blooms are a little bit more showy than crossvine
tasty.
Yeah.
and tasty.
smell
Yeah.
smell
Oh,
really
yeah.
really nice.
Yeah. All right, Caroline.
I
what's
might have
next?
to try one. Are you ready for another question?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
How do I care for an olive tree? Does it have to be kept inside? So olive trees are a very trendy plant. I would say they're almost taking the trend away from fiddly figs.
Back in the
People
corner.
want to have them inside, but they don't love being inside. Once you bring them home from the nursery, you have to acclimate them, and that means that a lot of them are going to start losing leaves, but you're going to want to replicate what they grow in naturally, which is full sun. So if you can get them into the sunniest spot in your house, if you've got like a floor to ceiling window that faces like southwest,
A
that would
glass
be
roof
perfect.
over
A
top.
glass roof over top.
with
need an
additional
atrium.
additional grow lights.
Yeah.
I was about to say you can supplement with grow lights. They like to dry out completely between watering, so they don't want to sit too wet, but you can also prune them back heavily, and they respond really well to that, even better than ficus. So they do make a great house plant, but you did ask, do I have to keep it inside? So we are in Middle Tennessee here, and there are some varieties of olive trees that can grow outside. I have some that I've kept outside through the winter. I keep them in pots so I can bring them in the event that we get a freeze like we did in 2022. when that happened, when that freeze came, and the temperatures just dropped like crazy, I did bring mine in for a week, and I think Austin did the same thing.
Same.
And then put it right back outside in full sun. And for me, when I leave them outside, they don't drop their leaves. Pretty much, they're really, really happy. They hold their color, and they're just.
Do they
healthy.
have the smell of like the Russian olives do?
Yeah, I mean,
Because there's nothing. A Russian olive isn't invasive, of course. They've decided, right?
here.
Yeah, okay.
Eleagnus.
Oh, you're talking about Iliad.
Oh, I've never heard it called
Yeah.
Russian olive.
Autumn olive.
Autumn olive.
Russian olive.
olive's fun to say.
They're actually they kind of have an olive color to the foliage. They're
Right.
not related to the olive fruit bearing.
It's just a common name.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
But they smell incredible.
Oh, they're
my
the
God.
first
Yeah,
time I
does
ever
smell
smelled it, I thought, my word, this lady has the strongest perfume I've ever. I mean,
It does smell like old lady, doesn't it?
it is pretty amazing.
I mean that in the positive sense, old ladies.
Yes,
So,
I mean it's a
In the
very
good
very
sense, that's
strong.
right.
It's very pungent,
oh,
and and
birds
and
just go crazy.
you almost
if the
cannot
birds-
get. There's no getting upwind from it. It's so strong. It is pervasive.
I do love olive trees. Get you one, put it outside. Is yours? Do you still have yours?
Nah. Got rid of that.
Got rid of that.
Threw it in the
olive
woods.
tree. You throw everything in the woods. Threw it on into the woods.
Uh-huh.
But
Well,
we
let's be
got-
quite honest. Olives hate our homes over the winter.
They do.
Hate it.
Yeah.
They hate
My
it.
mom had one a couple years ago. She got one and she brought it in the winter and it lost all of its leaves. And I told her, this is probably still alive. Don't toss it yet. So then she got another one, stuck it in the same pot once
Cherry.
she put it outside in the summer because she thought it was dead. She wasn't quite listening to me, but she still kept it, put a living one that was alive in the pot next to it. And then it started flushing out and had leaves. She was like, it wasn't dead. You were right.
There's so many houseplants that over the wintertime can lose all of their leaves.
They just go dormant.
They literally, like they're just like, I'm deciduous now.
I'm done.
I'm dropping these leaves. And it stays that way until spring. And then you put them back outside and you get this crazy regrowth, like you just said. Like, don't be surprised if plants lose some leaves. It's a part of it. Citrus is the same way. Citrus trees
yeah.
will lose leaves over the winter.
Citrus absolutely
You know,
will.
it's amazing
Yeah.
to see a citrus that's devoid of foliage but yet full of fruit.
Additional support for Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Bates Nursery and Garden Center, a third-generation nursery located in Nashville, Tennessee, and 20-time recipient for Nashville's Best Garden Center, offering the widest selection of new arrivals for fall, like specimen conifers, Japanese maples, and pansies in nearly every color. Open year-round, minutes from the heart of Nashville in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. Browse their selection online anytime at batesnursery.com. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
We got a question on raspberries. When should we prune raspberries and how do we cut them?
Okay. Let's be dramatic with raspberries, okay? Because
Okay.
they're vigorous, to say the least, okay? So they're going to send vines out. I mean, I've seen raspberries, if you don't cut them, 20, 25 feet long. Like, crazy. So let's get them back in check for sure. Like, they're vigorous growing plants. So
Crazy.
crazy. Even if you cut them to the dirt, they're going to send up new canes, send new flowers and fruit next year. So if that's more tidy for you to do that and get rid of all the old canes, then do that. But if you want to keep them up, say 2 to 3 feet, then do that. But do it over
So
the winter.
you can do
Yeah,
it.
and it's one of this points up kind of thinking about where you're going to put something before you put it there. Because
Big time, dude.
They're one of those plants that can present problems if you
Yes.
you don't want to put it in a spot where you got to be fighting it to keep it off from crossing the sidewalk, not just getting onto it, but going all the way across it. I mean, they're quite aggressive once they become established. So
Yeah, I gave 2, I think, to Mama. Shout out, Mama. Hope you're listening. Hey, Dad.
Hey,
Hope you're
Mama.
good. And we gave them 2. I think it was 2 1-gallon raspberries. Those things are like, Mama, have you cut those yet? They're like
Let us know.
15 feet tall and like winding around everything. We got a trellis that's 6 feet wide.
Wow.
7 feet tall probably, and it's eating
Can't
the
even
whole
see
thing.
it, huh?
Can't even see it.
Didn't you give that to her like a year or two ago?
It was a year ago, I
Yeah.
think, on Mother's Day, I think.
So it's grown fast.
Unbelievably fast. Mama, I'll cut that for you. Just don't worry about it. I'll be there. I'll come by after work.
Yep.
No,
He's
I
gonna
can't
come-
today after work. I got something else to do.
Well,
Tomorrow I'll see you, Mama.
he'll be by soon. All
Hold
right.
on.
Well, this next question is great for Austin because he worked in one of these greenhouses for a long time. We actually got this question last week, so we're getting to it this week. How do you get poinsettias to rebloom after all the flowers have fallen off at the end of the season?
Okay. You're not going to get them to rebloom this season. Okay, let's be done with that. So all the red bracts that you see, we call them bracts. They're modified leaves. Okay, they're the red bits of
actually,
the plant.
the flowers on a poinsettia are the little bitty white ones that you hardly notice that
Yes.
are within the bracts.
Within the bracts, exactly. So those red leaves are there in nature. They're a beacon for insects and pollinators to come find those blooms. That's kind of the whole point of that. But like I said, you're not, like I said, Joyce counted. You're going, I hear it every time. All right, you're going to go ahead and cut off those red flowers and bracts whenever they're like starting to look bad. Okay, you may as well just top them. And then what you're going to do is put them in a window for the rest of the season, as bright as you can get it, okay? These plants are native to Mexico in the full sun trees. They're 20, 30-foot trees out in Mexico, okay? So we give them full sun in a window. And then, you're going to get them growing through the next year, okay? We're going to get them all the way to like roughly late October, November, or wait, September, October. Yeah, October, November. I'm horrible with months, y'all. Just fun fact. Anyway, so you get them to November. You're going to start bringing them into a dark environment, okay? So like a closet or something. For typically 8 to like 15 days, you need to initiate a very dark environment. And then once you start to see color change, they will finish. Get them back to your window. Enjoy them for Christmas.
Yeah, and the deal is that they are, as Austin alluded to, it's all about day length, and once while you're having long days, once the summer solstice has passed and your day length gets down, and there are cultivars that are triggered at specific known lengths of day. Maybe it's 10 and a half hours, maybe it's 12 hours or 11 and a half. They used to have to grow them under what we call black clothing them, where they had to go in there and shorten the day mechanically. Well, now they don't have to do that. There's varieties that have been developed that are receptive to the natural shortening of the days. So the cultivars you have now, likely, as Austin said, are going to be just fine if you just get them in that darkness for a bit, and then they can go back out once they start to make that transition.
Do you leave them in the darkness for
No.
If you change it, you pull them in and out.
That's up to you. I mean, if you were going to leave them dark, you certainly could. Okay. And that would initiate the change. You could. But a lot of people, what they do is they'll have them in the window for the day while they're getting that day length. And then we put, 3 in the afternoon or so, put them in the closet for the night.
Yeah.
So we start that
Night,
initiation.
you tuck it in.
You don't have a lamp on in the closet.
Exactly. Yeah. But the key with cutting them back
Don't be
now,
turning the light on and checking on them. No, it's still there. Just because that really screws them up. It's triggering that photo cycle again, and you don't want that to happen. Put them in the dark, commit to it, be good with it, and then let it go.
Yeah. The key with cutting those things back, too, is once you cut them now, you're going to initiate more stems and more leaves and more growth. And then that's what's going to color change in the, later when you want it. So you've got all this big, beefy, leafy plant, and they're all going to turn red.
And,
or white.
In Mexico and Hawaii and other places where you are in either tropics or semi-tropics, they're used extensively either as freestanding specimens or as hedge plants.
Oh, yeah.
So they really look great.
Yep.
All right, Joyce says, just buy a new one. And then I want to get to one more set of photos that comes from Pam. Pam is in New Zealand still and sent some photos from a lavender farm that they visited.
Oh, gosh. This is going to hurt.
And then Pam also said, can't wait to visit Bates Nursery, the best in the land, in the coming spring for all things lavender planting. This was an inspiration for any gardener. That is stunning.
I want to run down those rows.
Yeah. You want to just take out all that lavender and
I don't want to take it out. No, I want to run and have my hands.
Look at that.
There's a beautiful one in Door County.
He wants to reenact, Gladiator, except with lavender. With
That sounds great.
Ooh.
Pam, next time, bring me.
Yeah, take Austin with you next time you go.
I'm traveling with you. I'll get a passport.
There's actually a beautiful lavender farm a little closer than New Zealand, but it's up in Door County. It's gorgeous, too. I'll show you some pictures that we took up
Oh,
there
yeah, I
as well.
definitely want to see that.
But,
All right.
Well,
It sounds like we might need some cue music here because we're into the bonus. We're into the bonus minutes. Of
Yeah.
the,
Hey,
this
thanks for
edition.
tuning in, everybody.
Yep.
And we got Christmas coming up.
Yes, it is. Soon.
And New Year's after that.
Yes.
Too fast.
It's all happening so fast.
So fast.
So anyway, thanks for tuning in. We're
Yep.
glad you're all here today
Yep.
and taking part of what we put on here at Gardening Inside Out.
Absolutely. And next week we'll be back. We'll be live. And we'll be coming to you here from Green Room Studio here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Hey, if you're out there on social media, like, share, subscribe, do everything across the board.
Yeah.
And that helps us help you. So we'll see you next Saturday morning right here for another Gardening Inside Out.
Drama.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.